Well, the draft has started off, so we'll see what happens in game one. Immortals banning Olleh as their first one, taking away that jungle pick, whereas Liquid respond in kind, banning Zac.
I think there's going to be a decent amount of control picks here that are going to be banned away from people to just kind of push them off of comfort. I feel like Immortals may ban the Elise here as well from ReignOver, just to take that away, or they will be picking it for themselves, because I feel like that's the tier list right now for ReignOver is go Olaf, go Elise, whatever you can get, and those are the two that really make him shine.
Well, there's Rakan actually banned by Immortals, so Zai going to be on the table as Fiora is the next one to join. Kennen is the ban for Team Liquid, but Immortals kind of already signaling that we are going to take Galio with that Fiora ban.
Yeah, the Galio coming through would be big. It's a flex pick as well. And we'll see the Galio being banned away.
Liquid respect it, ban it away, but that opens up exactly the other thing you talked about, which is Elise. So that could be the obvious first pick for Immortals. Xmithie and ReignOver, both with plenty of playtime on that champion.
Yeah, it depends on how high their priority is on that champion, but I do feel like Xmithie is quite the versatile jungler in terms of he loves playing things like Gragas as well. I feel like both these junglers can play it, so TL may be able to go for the Elise here, since the Caitlyn seems to be, you know, what's up for Cody Sun here. Don't want Piglet to have that champion.
It's definitely one of those champions that feels like it's just rising and rising up the ranks. It was already, I think, one of the most picked, if not the most picked bot laner. And then after the Hurricane, people are like, okay, maybe there are some changes. And then turns out it's still very good. But Kog'Maw actually selected for Liquid. He's going to join the Elise, so already a mix-up here for Piglet.
Yeah, talking about the Caitlyn for just one more second here. Piglet has actually been a very good performer for TL despite their losses. Piglet currently has the lowest deaths per game out of any AD carry, second highest kill participation as well for AD carries, so Piglet is actually doing quite well on this team, even though TL has not been performing well overall. So Immortals, it's smart from them to take the Caitlyn away, take the Energizer build away, where you take the Rapid Fire Cannon and Static Shiv, so you get this incredibly long range magic and physical damage crit that does about 1,000 damage late game to carries. So they want to be able to put pressure onto Piglet in the lane phase and have something that, you know, prevents him from going off in the late game. But he does have the Kog'Maw.
Yeah, so kind of interesting for Liquid saying that we can still find a hyper carry here. Curious to see how that one works out. Gragas and Renekton, though, are the picks for Immortals. So no flex there unless something super wacky is going to happen, maybe towards the bottom lane. Olleh does like to spice it up from time to time, but I assume that's jungle there for Xmithie. Happy to take that into the Elise and go back to certainly a signature tank jungle style.
Yeah, I like the Gragas pickup because we talk about protect the Kog'Maw compositions. Best pick against them is Gragas. Teams talk about it all the time where the Gragas can separate the Kog'Maw from his supports or even just disengage or push the supports away into even your team. So picking the Gragas for Xmithie, we saw him actually perform against Arrow week 1 and knock his Kog'Maw right into the team. And it's pretty much all he did there, and that's exactly what they're trying to do here for Immortals.
Yeah, early Shen pick also, early Renekton pick for Flame did prompt the Shen pick up there for Liquid as well. Now banning supports actually in the second phase of the draft, Thresh and Bard. Both banned by Team Liquid, as Lourlo was already taken away by Immortals, so maybe even one more support ban to come.
And this has become an interesting split for Flame already, because when he came into the North American LCS, there was still kind of that tank meta in the top lane. His most played champion so far this split is Renekton with 3 games. This will be his 4th. So he's really banking on that win lane, old school Flame style of the Shyvana shove top, etc. So he has this champion that can allow him to dominate lane, and he's up against the Shen from Lourlo that's pretty much going to be on protect the Kog'Maw duty here. So Flame has the opportunity to push an advantage, and he's been performing very well on this team. You think about Immortals overall, where it's like, oh, Xmithie's popped off, Pobelter's popped off. Highest KDA is actually Flame on the team with 4.5.
Yeah, in general, Immortals have actually been relatively consistent across the board, so looking to improve that there early in the season. Nami, though, is the pickup for Liquid, pivoting back to the draft. I mean, Karma was also banned by Immortals, so Matt is kind of taking the best support available. Did want something defensive for the lane, but also to make sure Piglet's happy moving into the late game. And there is a throwback for Olleh. Morgana now selected for Immortals.
Yeah, every time I see the Morgana from him, I think back to his time back in the LMS, where he was on a top 2 team, Hong Kong eSports at the time, and he did fantastic. It was one of the first times that Morgana support was really seeing a whole bunch of play, so it's a classic for him. And I like the Orianna takeaway because you don't want TL to have that. You even think back to GoldenGlue's debut in the NA LCS for Team Dignitas, replacing Skara. First champion he played was Orianna. It really just feels at home on that champion.
It's just one of the better blind pick mids you can take, and it fits in almost every comp. So Immortals to finish things off there with their final picks. Now we'll see what GoldenGlue wants to pick up here. I think Talia jumps out as the obvious pick, but we've seen his Arya, actually quite a number of champs from GoldenGlue.
Yeah, I actually really like how both teams approached this champion select, where they were really targeting the other team's style and trying to disrupt it. Immortals take the Caitlyn, make sure Piglet doesn't have it, then they pick the Elise for themselves for comfort on TL, and then the Gragas comes through to disrupt the Kog'Maw, and then it just becomes this back and forth. We're not going to let you have Orianna. We're going to ban out a whole bunch of supports so you don't have as dominant a bottom lane. You think about TL's bans, it's to make sure that Immortals don't have like a Bard ultimate to engage onto the Kog'Maw from far away, but they don't have this thresh hook to try and push you under turret and fish for hooks on a Kog'Maw the entire game. So they're trying to keep Piglet a little bit safe there, and then the Syndra comes up as that last pick, which was left open, which doesn't always happen, but we want to see how GoldenGlue performs on this champion. He does have a victory on it so far.
Yeah, played it once against Dignitas in their Game 3 win. Although I was a little more impressed with Talia and Elise as the combination from ReignOver and GoldenGlue. I'll take Elise Syndra, which is a very good and very aggressive GoldenGlue. Kind of opting for the more proactive side of the matchup instead of just wanting to farm it out. So we'll see. I mean, certainly a champion that you can take over the game with, but I think you look on, especially the top lane there from Immortals, and Flame is going to try and abuse that advantage. And as always, the question is going to be, can we kind of relive some of the early magic we saw from Xmithie and Pobelter, or is it going to be ReignOver and GoldenGlue that continue their strong run of form into Week 3?
We'll see what happens here, because TL, they need something to pick them up further. They've been improving every single game that they've played. Took NB to 3, then they won their set against Dignitas. So last week was a bit of a rebuilding for them, where they were able to get a little bit of that mojo back. But this is the week where you start getting into 1/3 of the split is already passed. Week 3, this is where you really want to see them turn it on.
Yeah, Immortals are a team as well that, you know, kind of one hiccup, and that's been about it from them. So you have to think this team's going to want to bounce back, really continue strong, and break the 4-way type of first that they're currently sitting in. There's a lot of clumping going on in the scoreboard right now. Immortals going to try and break that up. TL going to carry some of the momentum, but is it enough for this whole series? We'll find out now in game number 1.
Yeah, and we'll see what happens, like you said. But I'm really watching that jungle here, because these guys famously have that control style where we started having an NA LCS that's dominated by people like Acadian, Dardoch came in, all these guys who were incredibly aggressive, and then the aggressive junglers like Graves became the meta, whereas Xmithie and ReignOver were kind of left to playing things that weren't completely comfortable for them. But right now they both have champions that they are incredibly comfortable on. So I want to see how these junglers work against each other.
Well, looks like Xmithie and Reino have already had a meeting. Flame actually going to roam behind his jungler, trying to get some information on the Raptors. Spiderling gonna miss Flame.
And they're just looking for that ward there on the Raptors to disrupt.
Yeah, level 1's kind of got to a point where I think all the teams know what's up. Everyone just spreading out, wanting to get whatever information they can, but nothing too crazy going to happen here. In fact, Cody Sun playing very far back into that brush, likely trying to spot for TL peeking in for a ward or two. Ooh, actually a red ward there for Flame. So Lourlo is going to spot him. ReignOver again going to try and slow him down, but Flame will get out safely. GoldenGlue comes into cover just in case, and looks like there's a ward on the Raptor camp already. I think TL might have defensively placed one. Nope, I'm dumb. Can't see it.
They haven't put one. Yeah. All good though. Don't worry about it, Pastry. You're not dumb.
Hey man, it's hard to see the minimap sometimes.
Yeah. It's called mini for a reason. Sometimes it's hard to see. I gotcha.
Well, it looks like Raptor over for TL.
That's interesting. He smites the big one and then goes after the big one to take it out. So he doesn't get the level 2 off just the little ones and then kills the big one. Instead goes for the smite to burst it out. But look at this. Already Matt taking a lot of damage there.
Yeah, great binding there from Olleh. Almost point blank. Does nail the Nami, and Olleh's going to get the better end of that early trade. Looks like Cody Sun trying to get things pushed out as soon as possible. But Piglet, as always, I mean, he's always been an aggressive player, but Matt and Piglet have almost, to a fault, played their lanes very aggressive. Yes. But it feels like things are picking up a little more for them this split.
Yeah, it really comes down to if they can actually get that advantage in the bottom lane, because they've actually been the best performing members of Team Liquid so far this split. If you just look at the raw numbers, they're number 1 and 2, or number 2, sorry, across the board in their position for kill participation. So nothing really happens for Team Liquid unless Piglet and Matt are involved in it. And Piglet, like I said, has not been dying to make these plays either. Piglet has been doing a great job there.
Well, a nice ward actually from Immortals is going to spot ReignOver, but ReignOver moving all the way down, going to force Xmithie off that attempted blue steal. There's actually only the Krug camp left in his side of the jungle as he moves back down towards the bottom. So TL's good warding on their own is going to make sure to spot that out, and ReignOver not going to lose anything here.
Yeah, so ReignOver really good in his jungle, whereas Xmithie actually a little bit behind here. He's going to the other side of the jungle there. And he's actually far behind. ReignOver will be able to hit level 4 here, and Xmithie's still just on that level 3.
Yeah, that blue still going wrong actually really costs Xmithie a lot in the early XP department, so should be fine as he hits his walls, but ReignOver, a player that is so adept at power farming on almost any jungler, should be happy with the lead he's built up for himself already. So pathing looks decent there, but ReignOver is actually going to move in, and now it's his turn to try his hand at
No cone.
but no blast cone to repel, so he makes that a little tricky.
Yeah. So he can't get completely behind for the gank. That's actually smart to look for that. I also want to talk about this bottom lane here. So when Doran's shield got changed to being every time you take damage from an enemy, you start regaining 20 HP over 10 seconds, it becomes pretty bad for Morgana, who spends a lot of mana to put down a pool. You take 1 tick of it, and then you get 20 health back. So you actually start healing the Kog'Maw pretty effectively by just throwing down the W and trying to get your Spell Thief stacks off. And we changed it so that the Spell Thief stacks can't go off except about once every 1.25 seconds. So they have to stand on the Tormented Soil for a long time for that to happen. So you usually spend a lot of mana for 1 tick, and it really doesn't help you too much in the lane either. So using it for harassment is pretty null, and you're actually helping the Kog'Maw more than you are actually hurting him.
Yeah, thankfully Caitlyn able to farm pretty safely through the lane, so I think Olleh more doing it for that as Matt barely misses getting hit by the next binding. Again, trading back and forth, Matt using those empowered autos to get aggressive, and Piglet actually moves forward. Back into Olleh, just firing.
Oh.
The bubble not quite going to hit. It's the heel pop there for Immortals. Now root there onto
the headshot.
For the next kill, the headshot though. He's going to get the kill. Now Piglet still chasing his ReignOver.
They could dive. They could dive here. Cody Sun very low. That might even kill him right off the W.
Piglet. Oh my god, Olleh! That was a disgustingly good flash. Now ReignOver still chasing Cody Sun. I think Cody is able to get the kill. Immortals outplay TL at every turn.
Wow, that was Cody Sun just coming up huge there. He was chasing him down, and then he actually could have changed forms and didn't go for that last auto. Didn't think he had the range there either. But that puts Piglet in a lane where he's going to deny a decent amount of CS here if he can push it to the turret. Beautifully played. Olleh here walks forward from the bubble, a very aggressive move that you don't expect to happen here as they're losing the trade. Matt puts him in a catch-22 situation where he has to walk up. Good exhaust, but then the binding to the face, the trap afterwards. Cody Sun then shoots it off as the exhaust comes down, and Piglet is just trading very heavily. They don't have a minion wave here, and this from ReignOver, the W doesn't kill him, and Cody Sun gets out, but I gotta say, Olleh, that was good. Flash the cocoon, throws the binding, but ReignOver and him both did the same thing. That was sick.
Well, really nice stuff there, but Immortals do come out ahead in the trade as TL still roaming aggressively towards the bottom side of the map. 3 members stacked on top of a pink wall, but Olleh gonna find them there. Nice little Tormented Soul to check.
Yeah.
It looks like just some vision placed down instead.
And this is the jungle control that I was talking about for Team Liquid, where ReignOver very early, especially Xmithie too, on getting themselves a Tracker's Knife. Not going for any of those Skirmisher Saber, not the Meteor style Elise at all. Making sure that they have the vision control and placing it in the enemy jungle. I feel like a lot of action now. Talk about it that it might happen in that mid lane, but you got to pivot here because this is the bottom lane. Looks like they're going to be very aggressive here. Both Piglet and Matt have been struggling this split so far in terms of actually making the plays they want. Granted, they've been very good players, but like you said, aggressive to a fault sometimes.
And it does feel like, yes, even though Piglet and Matt are kind of getting it back together and building more synergy, I mean, as far as start of the splits go for players, I mean, Cody Sun and Olleh have actually had an incredible start to the summer. I mean, this is a 2v2 that Doublelift himself was giving a lot of respect to early on in the season. And we've kind of seen that bear fruit in their win versus TSM because they've looked almost better than everyone else.
Yeah, Olleh was up there in terms of votes for all NA LCS support. And then you look at Cody Sun, and he was second or first in a lot of people's minds for rookie of the split. So now in his sophomore split here, Cody Sun, see what he's able to do here. He does land on a ReignOver. Cody Sun has to go over.
Actually reset the red as well, so Cody Sun with the Morgana shield just blows up ReignOver.
3-0 for Cody Sun, 7 minutes into the game.
I mean, he's down a little bit of CS, but he's not too ashamed at all. Should be ahead in gold by a pretty comfortable amount as ReignOver caught once more in the wrong place.
Yeah, he's going to start pushing this, and he's got some CS to pick up as well. Cody Sun's in a great position, though. This is a position where even if you're the Kog'Maw and you have the Nami, it's hard to contest. And look at this, off the top lane, able to force Lourlo back, apparently. No teleport available, so Flame, we talked about how he's been dominating the lane, already up 21 CS over the Shen, and they're just playing winning side lanes. Immortals are trying to play to those side lanes.
Oh, GoldenGlue actually getting aggressive on the Pobelter, does get the ulti down, Shockwave's gonna hit, but Stand United could keep him alive. Pobelter does bust the wall, but Lourlo Does not dare go over.
I was like, don't flash after that, but he actually loses so much top lane. They're going to lose their Krugs, and now they're also going to take a lot of damage on this top turret because Xmithie has that red buff, and it'll help deal damage to that turret.
Yeah, going to need one more wave, but it's not too far behind them as Xmithie, I think, going to leave and start some jungling. Lourlo moving back up towards that top lane, but will be spotted by Immortals' nice deep vision. In fact, Xmithie might even stay, but Lourlo instead takes the safe way around. Does see him complete the recall, and ReignOver this time on round 2 will get himself the red buff. Oh, maybe it's not safe, though. Another binding lands.
Yep, Cody Sun not in range to actually put down any traps or follow up or do a combo there. We'll see what he's actually got. He's got 1,500 gold in his pockets right now. Cody Sun's burning a hole in his pockets. He wants to back. So that's why I think Xmithie's going to start playing to the bottom side of the map here, even though he knows it's littered with wards and his blue buff is literally up right now that he can hand off. Play to the bottom side, get your bot lane a good back timer here, and play around that Infernal Drake too. It's so important.
Yeah, actually a ward down there by Olleh, I believe, getting one in the back of the pit. Sky's Bloom will see that. As Xmithie finds the first of many wards in his jungle. Going to take down that pink ward first. ReignOver now handing over the blue buff to GoldenGlue, so his aggression might bear a little bit more next time he goes back in onto Pobelter, who does not have a flash, but other than that, it's just been a lot of farming in the top side of the map, and all the action's been concentrated in the bottom lane.
Yeah, Cody Sun may push out this next wave. They're actually sitting around in that bottom bush. Piglet actually not backing just yet either. So the support's back, whereas the people who have so much gold sitting around still. Nah, nobody helping him out for those backs just yet.
I mean, it's one of those things I think Piglet as a player does get a little greedy sometimes, wants to stay for as many waves as farm as possible. Cody Sun's like, well, I'm winning the lane, so I don't really need to do too much health. Might as well stay and get my farm too.
Yeah. It's also a cannon minion wave, so it's good from Piglet to back on this wave, and he actually will probably get a better back timer here. We'll see how much he actually misses out on, but purchase himself parts of the Bilgewater Cutlass. Can't complete it just yet. But that's really what he's stuck with here, whereas Cody Sun will be able to get himself a decent amount here, sitting on 2,200 gold as he's pushing this wave out.
Yeah, kind of curious to see exactly how he puts this build together. We tend to see
full
the
IE
same
first
build order from a lot of them, but IE first has tended to trend to back now that Hurricane's not picked up
Yeah.
as much. And there you go, full IE first. So talk about power for Caitlyn. Usually does go through a bit of a trough in that mid game, but not going to be the case here for Immortals.
Oh yeah, and the reason that people go Infinity Edge first, like from a numbers standpoint, before it was like, oh, combining it doesn't give you anything. But we actually buffed it, so now it's 70 AD instead of 65. So the combine gives you 5 AD, memes aside. But also, Caitlyn's headshot damage scales with her critical strike increase as well. So this is a headshot-focused build that if you get yourself a trap early, you're bursting somebody incredibly hard.
Well, might see that come to pass here around this next Drake fight as Piglet does clear out the pink ward and get some vision down in that tri-bush. Olleh was busy trying to clear the other side of it as Cody Sun puts down his own ward. Now going to get that bush back in their control. ReignOver again, wrong side, but he repels back to the Drake. Should be okay there, but collapse is kind of coming here. Pobelter not able to find the angle on the fight, and Xmithie behind him. He's going to make sure he stays safe though.
And if you're ReignOver right now, you're in an awful position in terms of the game. And this could be a game where ReignOver looks like he's completely shut out.
Good Pobelter going to force here. Xmithie, yep, going to force the flash out. Just threatening once more with after the body slam. And now ulti actually burned back down. A huge amount of burst onto it.
Here comes Shen.
Shen in there. There's flash on for Lourlo. Shield not enough as GoldenGlue does get credit for the kill. But now Flame coming down. He's Renekton. There's a slash, gets a flash down. ReignOver burning low after that Q from Flame. Flame still chasing, but doesn't have flash anymore, so Cocoon is going to stun him up.
Oh,
and now the slow there from the Spirit Sword as Pobelter still chasing for the next bit of kills. ReignOver though, far too fast in Spider Form, and everyone's getting out. Maybe not.
Wait, no, they're chasing Flame is here.
They've got no turret, so this could be a little more problematic. Repel down, ReignOver gets stunned, and Flame finally gets a kill.
Yeah, now they also have Morgana top, so it's 3 people strong on the top side. Piglet though looking for Cody Sun.
Great wave there from Matt's going to knock him up. No, the flash all the way through a very wide shot as Olleh does get the ulti down onto Lourlo. Binding follows in, Flame looks for the stun, does land on the other side, and he gets a second kill.
And they are just getting ripped apart across the map here. They didn't get the play that they wanted on the bottom side for TL, and Immortals take that top tier 2 after having a really good play that went all the way through the map.
4,000 gold ahead for Immortals at under 13 minutes, and now another play is being set up here. 2v2 going to start, and Xmithie, he's got his eyes on Piglet.
It's the lightning round right now, just trying to get in there. Piglet, they know he doesn't have flash, so he just tried to use it, but they don't have ultimate from Xmithie either.
No overcommit, just again going to zone them off and let Cody finish off the creeps here. Matt and Piglet, smart to hold their ground, knowing there wasn't too much threat, but Xmithie at least saves the turret.
Yep, ReignOver sees Xmithie going in, and wants to follow it up afterwards. So GoldenGlue knows that this is going to happen, and Pobelter is able to reach him with the shockwave without really having to go for a flash or anything like that. Lourlo with the instantaneous taunt flash, or flash taunt there actually, to get to the other side of him. Lock him up as the cast comes out. And then this was just an interesting chase here too, because Flame just goes and tries to head him off at the pass, whereas you can even see Morgana, Olleh on the other side of the map, mid, just roaming straight up. He's going to go and weave all the way through the jungle. And a nice blast cone take as well from Flame.
Yeah, really well played as Olleh. Going to barely miss that binding onto Piglet.
And I was saying before that broke out that this is a game that's now going to start looking more and more like ReignOver has no agency in it. And he's going to have to get desperate for plays like that because he's losing top side of the map because of the fact that the Renekton won the matchup, got the turret, pushed very heavily, and is just stacked full of gold. Bottom lane, winning matchup with 3 kills for themselves. And now you're just spread all throughout the map as somebody who got dominated and is 1-3-1. So you've died a lot, you're behind in your jungle, your side lanes are losing, so you're going to have to take 2-on-2s that you are down in gold no matter where you go.
Yeah, this has been a cascade of advantages here for Immortals. They took the Infernal Drake, they got a second turret on the top side of the map after that great rotation from Olleh, getting him a few more kills. And now it just feels like TL has to play so far back behind their turrets, or Immortals will just kind of keep that snowball rolling. Again, already up 4K and looking to make that even further. GoldenGlue, pretty juicy target with no flash currently.
Yeah, hitting some breakpoints though with the Morello and the Sork shoes, but Pobelter doing the same himself. And TL, do they just wait to scale? Because they're losing side lanes. GoldenGlue.
There's the ultimate, he does dodge it, not enough. Pobelter able to get the kill.
Yeah, GoldenGlue off on the side. They knew they wanted that blue buff to be handed off. ReignOver's going to have to take it now so it doesn't get taken away. But it means his mid lane in the worst position. And now he's zoned away. That'll probably be mid lane turret here as 2 to 3 people could collapse pending what Orianna wants to do.
They was also basing, I think, no, does stay as Flame almost proxying except there's no turret for him to get behind.
Yeah.
And then Pobelter and Xmithie trying to take down the turret.
Yep, third person showing up here.
Flame going in, moving forward as Pobelter zones one off with the ball. Doesn't have his ultimate back up just yet, but will have enough to burn down the turret. That's a third turret very quickly for Immortals, and you can kind of see that again with how well bottom lane is going. It's a pretty obvious next point of attack for Immortals. So how the snowballs really started to shake out, it's just been a series of really good plays on the bottom, to start the bottom lane there, making sure they got ahead, and now moving up towards the top lane and taking over that side of the map.
Yeah, the bottom lane was able to create a play on their own there with the dive and turn it around, even though it was one that Cody Sun had to outplay mechanically, so it wasn't really a macro win there. But the macro win was the fact that they got the top turret and they got Flame very far ahead. Guy's 30 CS up. He has multiple waves to catch on top side, 2 of them. Xmithie will be able to pick up the Rift Herald here. Be able to drop it off in whatever lane he wants.
Yep, Cloud recall back home. Gonna pick up, gonna go spend that gold as a 3-man squad of TL is gonna try and trade a turret, and looks like they should be able to get this one.
And they get something back here for themselves, the first turret of the game. TL, like I said, ReignOver's gonna have to go for trade plays like that. Top lane, he knows Xmithie and Flame are doing the Rift Herald after the call out. Go bottom, pick up that turret, and do whatever you can. Now they need to keep their Kog'Maw safe so he can scale. They kind of have a half-scaling composition here with Team Liquid, with the Kog'Maw, not too much to keep him safe, but they do have a Kog'Maw. So at the end of the day, you can wait to scale. You can wait for the Renekton to fall off a little bit, and then the Shen will be able to turn online. So Immortals do have to keep the pace up a little bit here, but they have the Rift Herald to help them do that.
Yeah, and it feels like, again, definitely TL not out of the woods just yet. Have quite a lot more storm to weather for the time being, but Gold Lead staying about where it was, so things aren't looking too bad. But I mean, Cody just went to go back with Berserker Greaves and Azeel now in his pocket. Olleh barely going to miss that binding onto Matters. Let's get the next play on this bottom outer turrets being set up by Immortals.
Yeah, Immortals want that bottom outer turret, so they'll get wards in that bot side jungle from Team Liquid. I'm looking at Flame's build. Bilgewater Cutlass. We see the Blade of the Ruined King a lot now from Renektons. But then the double Ruby Crystal could be Spirit Visage, could be the new Randuin's.
Oh, great punch again through the cocoon by Xmithie. Renekton now going to try and book it out. Flashes in towards Matt, who heals him. But Xmithie happy to trade summoners there as both junglers now have flashes down.
Yep, but they get that bottom turret, and now they'll be able to push up. Flame will have that middle wave, and then he has to go top to catch that wave. He does have teleport, though. Interesting that they're going to leave the Shen on the other side of the map. They have to get a lot done here. That's why they're doing this. They're using the Rift Herald on this bottom turret. It'll do about half its HP, and then this will kill it right here.
Yep, Xmithie able to channel that and take it down instantly. Dies actually. Xmithie getting credit. ReignOver does repel down to barely miss getting body slammed by Xmithie. Wave will also disengage as Matt burns his ultimate to make sure his team stays safe. But 5 turrets to 1 right now. Lourlo trying to get another trade going.
Yeah, Lourlo's going to try to get that top turret. Also, this gigantic minion wave is not going to be picked up by Flame here for a bit. So he's going to miss a decent amount of it. But if I don't think he gets the turret. Yeah, he's too afraid to stick around. Doesn't have the damage to kill it either. So really, Immortals, big macro play there that paid off.
Yeah, and they're actually still going mid. So, I mean, Lourlo being scared away despite having 2 globals. Immortals stick on the map. They're going to try and siege down this tier 2 mid. That also looks to be going pretty low. Although TL able to wave here the last few cards
of the way. They have to make a play now.
Good stun by ReignOver onto Xmithie. Ulti there burnt by GoldenGlue. Xmithie staying in as Flame going to TP and turn it back around. Pobelter doesn't quite have his ultimate just yet, but Flame is going to start it all off. Tries to stun down Lourlo, does get some damage down, but he has to dice out of the way as Piglet playing very far forward.
Yeah, he saw the binding down, and he saw that Gragas was off on the side, so he can play that far up, but now I just think it's going to be a little bit of a stalemate unless the binding lands.
No binding lands onto Piglet, but no follow-up available. Cody Sun gets some poke down with the Peacemaker. Pobelter threatening with the ultimate blade. Guys, back in Pobelter! Takes out ReignOver. Lourlo gets moved back by the shockwave as Pobelter barely escapes the clutch of the Piglet. Now Olleh flashing forward, does land the binding, but takes a couple turret shots.
Yep, ReignOver gets picked up off on the side, but look at that, Immortals so low. So many members are incredibly low right now. Look at that.
Oh, another great binding.
Cody
not going to line it up. No, the bubble trap. Trap lands in, and that's going to be a kill. Cody gets another one. Turret goes down, and Immortals just looking so good this game.
And I love this from them. They have those side lanes that they were able to win, and then it's just the systematic push of it. Right now, Infernal Drake coming up in 5 seconds. We'll see what they do after those backs, but Flame coming in from the top. Flash stuns ReignOver, and then it looks like everybody's waiting to react, but Pobelter's already there, ready, flashes forward with the shockwave, and just barely makes it out, too. And then Cody Sun doesn't really have too much mana to get in and escape just yet. So they wait, and then binding from Olleh on Matt. Oh, the trap came down right in time, and he picks him up after.
Yeah, Bubble just a touch late there as Infernal Drake #2 goes over to Immortals, so continuing to just hold almost everything on this map.
And I really like this from Flame, where he went for the Bilgewater Cutlass and didn't complete it. Instead, looked at the team, said, I need magic resistance against everybody on this team, including the Kog'Maw, not really armor or anything. So he's prioritized that. And now he's kind of pivoted his build from being a pusher to there's no more outer turrets for me to push. We have to have some team fights against this team. So he's going to start going for a team fighting build where he can survive. And I really like that he's pivoted at this point. Cody
Sun in a 1v4.
Out of position.
Oh, there's a wave. No, can't flush it this time. Piglet grabs the shutdown.
And then it's like, how did Lourlo get in that bush so far?
Whoa, what happened there? Was that? I wonder who ordered that blast cone. Well, GoldenGlue might get away as a result. Binding gonna miss as GoldenGlue actually just dodges out of the way. And very slick escape there by Syndra.
Yep.
And something went a little pear-shaped there.
Well, gets out with the blast cone. Oh. Wait, is he out? Yeah. Orianna's there too. I don't think he's out. I think he's done.
Maybe not. GoldenGlue, yeah, going to be on the ulti. Xmithie says, there's the body slam I was looking for. And now ReignOver actually caught in trouble. Pobelter with a bandage, able to face check it all. Does so much damage and takes down ReignOver.
Yep.
Piglet now going to try and turn it back around, but cannot walk through that ball. Shockwave's still available.
Yeah, jungle mid synergy. You can see right there. 1-5-2 for ReignOver. He looks really bad this game, but a lot of that is off of the lanes, and you can't really play to anybody. And every time you show up for a 2-on-2, you're just going to get killed. Whereas Pobelter, really the beneficiary of a lot of what's been happening in this game. But I will say his shockwaves have been quite good.
Yeah, I mean, Immortals again is playing so well as a unit. It's been map-wide excellence for this team for the first 22 minutes. And now a quick Baron. Lourlo, he can maybe get in here, but there's just not enough with ReignOver dead. Smite should be available for Xmithie, able to cleanly take that one away. And Immortals just insanely far ahead. 9,000 quickly approaching 10K.
And this is controlled aggression from Immortals. Lourlo has to taunt to get in that bush too, or else he wouldn't have been there in time, I believe, and the minions would have seen him. So Cody Sun wasn't accounting for that, and that's why Lourlo doesn't have taunt here. But it doesn't matter. They just pour so much damage into him. We'll see. Okay.
It was GoldenGlue. Olleh does get caught by Piglet. Xmithie going to get the revenge kill, takes down Matt as a result. So support's down. But Piglet, he's the one getting kills on TL.
Yeah, he's got red buff as a Kog'Maw right now, so I think he's in a pretty good spot. Just needs to back up, get some more items. That's really what they're fighting for here is, can we get Piglet more items? I mean, it's a desperation attempt, but they do have that Kog'Maw, but it's so far behind. We almost have the Energizer build, Cody Sun online.
And this is the thing for me with this Caitlyn build is, Caitlyn always hits the point where it feels like she's just taking over a game, but this build more than any that I can remember in a while just feels like at some point there's not a whole lot you can do. I like to refer to it as the doomsday scenario, just because at some point the clock ticks down and you're like, well, I think we're dead. And that's when the game's even. This game is definitely not even, Zirene.
Not at all. I was just kind of looking at the item builds here again, where it wasn't the Spirit Visage, it's Adaptive Helm. So he's making sure that the way that Adaptive Helm works is you get hit by a spell, the subsequent effect or spell is actually reduced by 15%. So it works on the Andres, right? It'll reduce the damage coming in from it. But it'll also work on Kog'Maw Bioarcane Barrage from his W, so you're taking less % HP damage by a bit. And then also the Shen Q with the pass-through % HP damage again. So this may be a case where you're actually looking at a really good Adaptive Helm purchase here. Especially like even Syndra, right? It works against that champion too.
Certainly does. As IMT now sieging up this mid lane. Fancy bell up for Pobelter. Does get knocked up there by a stray bit of ooze from Piglet, but Cody Sun pretty confident here with the Baron buff behind him, able to lean up on the turret and just take shots here. Xmithie in behind just in case somebody were to step too far forward, and Flame is still working things out in the bottom side of the map, pushing Lourlo in towards that turret. So first in hit's going to go down under 25 minutes. Immortals at a breakneck pace this game.
Yeah, this is like an Immortals of old where you're looking at, oh, top lane just crushed by itself. Pobelter was controlling. The jungler went to the top side for his carry. Like, you're thinking about 2016 Immortals with Huni and ReignOver.
Yeah, the only difference is like the plays aren't quite as like hectic.
Exactly.
They're not just diving people, they're just playing the map.
I think that's such a great point because we were talking about how this is controlled aggression from them, where they're not flailing about, where they have somebody like even Dardoch. Hold on though. Flame.
Flash dash there by Flame. He wants a solo kill. Grab. He's gonna proc. Flame takes down Lourlo. And now the turret's going down. GoldenGlue evaporates as Pobelter now on a rampage, and it's just falling to pieces there for TL. They die on two different sides of the map.
This might be game right here. You can see Flame pushing up. Doesn't even care about the turret. Wants those inhib turrets.
Yep, gonna go for it here. One inhib does. Second inhib, sorry, does fall down. So Nexus turret number 1 is going to go. Might need another wave or two, so we'll have to wait. Death time is still pretty short on the TL side.
Yeah, it depends. Do they want to stick around? Maybe bottom turret, bottom inhib, triple inhib. That's a safe call, but no safety here.
Don't have too much else to do. Pobelter again, still feeling strong. Ultimate still ready to go. It's ReignOver. Oh, he hits a binding. No! Bad news bears as Flame gets his next kill, his 4th of the game. Now Olleh flash ulting forward. Piglet goes down before the shockwave can complete. And Immortals will knock down the last few turrets as TL desperately trying to defend their base. Flame, he's going to turn out GoldenGlue and stun him down as Cody did fall. Immortals may not be able to end the game yet. They're going to try and slap the Nexus down as Xmithie putting that passive into overtime. Flame is ripping people apart as Paul Lourlo goes down again. GoldenGlue dash to Xmithie in kind of a weird 1v1. The Nexus exposed. Immortals too far ahead, and that'll be game 1.
A great look for this team as well. The controlled aggression and the winning of the side lanes to have a collapse afterwards. That looked like a great game from Immortals.
It really did. It's kind of one of those things where, all right, bottom lane, some fancy feet. Nice little outplay here and there. Manages to find themselves a lead. Okay, let's see what they can do with it. And then, all right, Flame is 10 CS ahead. All right, now Flame is 15 CS ahead. And then suddenly someone goes top and he's 20, 30 CS ahead. And it just feels like at that point, they make the play in bottom lane, they make the outplay in bottom lane, they make the play in top lane, and then the map just goes all over to Immortals and TL starts to fall apart.
Yeah, TL really did fall apart, like you said. But I do have to talk a little bit about what happened for them, because Piglet, even at the end of the game, highest kill participation, lowest deaths on his team with just a single one, and he's highest damage in the game as well. So Piglet is still playing well on Team Liquid, and they're trying to find ways to play around him, but the Caitlyn takeaway really disabled that and put him on something that scales, and then they took away Orianna, and they took away all these things. So I really like the draft as well from Immortals because it played out the way it did with the side lanes winning.
Well, it's not enough for the team playing that well, but for a deeper dive into that game 1, let's send it over to the analysts.
Thank you very much, Pastrytime. Immortals, high out of the gates here. They're not messing around today with the first victory in the series against Team Liquid, but I want to tee off of what Zirene was talking about right there. Team Liquid's game plan and how they've developed throughout the split. Again, we know that Kane has been working with the team, but this was his first time on the stage behind them for Champions League, and it is very clear that they're still choosing to build around Piglet and trying to make him their win condition.
Both through the draft and in game, because I even listened to a GoldenGlue interview last week where he said Piglet is now trying to be the team's main shot caller. So that is also why, as Zirene said, the Caitlyn Morgana was so effective. They double banned the shielding supports to go with the Kog'Maw. They never really allowed Piglet to be a factor. And then no one else on Team Liquid really did anything. Like, while the dives in bottom lane were failing, the rest of Immortals was still succeeding. Flame, Pobelter, Xmithie pulling ahead of their opposition.
Well, and I think that's a big thing when you see the Elise, the jungler, come down, have a failed gank, which means he's not pressuring perhaps another winning lane like the Syndra, where they might be able to get the ball rolling. Here, the attempted gank, the attempted snowball goes all wrong, and Immortals, again, out to the races as Xmithie goes top and swings that matchup. And that's where I want to call into question the Shen pick just a little bit. As we've heard throughout Lourlo's career, and even seen at times, this guy has carry potential. He plays carries. We were likened to the Fiora games that we've seen, where he is 1v9'd, right, to a victory. And here you pick him into a losing matchup, don't give him any resources, and we see the Renekton kind of run straight through him.
Yeah, it fell apart a little bit. I can see what they're going for as well with the Shen. They're not going to have lane pressure up there. They think they're going to have lane pressure in mid, and ReignOver's going to camp bot. So that's how they're planning on getting the 2 out of 3 winning lanes. But that's very narrow. Like, it's not that common to actually have a bottom lane shot caller with everything going through him.
And when your win conditions are narrow, if you make a mistake, they get even narrower. And that's what we saw happen very early on into the game. 4:45 starts as the 2v2 with ReignOver coming in at the end for the attempted turret dive. Ends up in a 2-for-1 for Immortals.
Yeah, very aggressive 2v2. Piglet and Matt have a lot of confidence in their ability to win any 2v2. They lose that 2v2 straight up because they were trying to start a fight for this gank from ReignOver. But then watch what Olleh does right here. He flashes over the cocoon, which delays the kill kind of just long enough. Cody Sun then waits for the repel to come down before flashing. Piglet could not take any more turret shots, therefore ReignOver ends up tanking one and losing essentially the 2v3 there when they already needed the jungle pressure to have any impact in that lane to win the game, put them in a really bad position against Immortals.
Right, you've got a 2-kill Caitlyn now, will become 3 not so long after that with another kill in the jungle. And so all of a sudden, again, this ability to push turrets with the long range and start to abuse the Kog'Maw and the Nami with all of the pick potential that Olleh has. And again, that's what's screaming at me here is 2 things. 1, it's the Shen, counter, pick into a bad lane matchup. And then 2, it's all of these support bans. Knowing that Olleh's the one guy in the league who will always jump to this pocket pick in Morgana, and I feel like you have to account for that, and maybe that is where Kane hasn't maybe done the research there and recognized the fact that that's always an option. And that duo, man, if the binding lands, you are in trouble.
Binding, trap, Team Liquid needs to prepare for this Immortals team, and we need to give credit where it's due for Immortals as well, because this is a team that starts the split hot. A lot of people thought losing Dardoch, who was their best player last split, would really hurt them. But the team is really coming together. That game was, what, 25 minutes long?
They look clean.
They took an advantage. Everyone was doing work. Even if someone stepped out of bounds, like Cody Sun getting picked later in the game, the team recovered. So they're playing quite well.
Yeah, one misstep there in the top lane that netted a kill for Team Liquid, but with that, he receives player of the game. I mean, this guy, remember, again, in spring split, his kind of rise and, being in the discussion for even rookie of the split. Again, first half of the split, he was forgotten, kind of unknown, and these 2 guys really made a name for themselves as a bot lane duo up against the likes of, the Stixays and the Afromoves and the Double Lifts and the Biofrost.
Yeah, they're picking themselves into winning situations. Cody Sun was my vote for rookie of the split. Contracts ended up winning it. He was on my ballot as well, but he's taking that success and moving it forward into the summer split.
All right, so a good first win here for Immortals. When we return, we'll see if Team Liquid can bounce back and tie up the series against Immortals. Stay with us. Game 2 is coming up after the break.